It was 2:13 a.m. when I woke to the sound of metal clanging in my backyard. Three guys in black polos, marked HOA compliance, had scaled my fence and were tearing apart my daughter's swing set. Why? It didn't match the neighborhood's aesthetic standards. By sunrise, two of them were in handcuffs, and Susan Harper, the iron-fisted HOA president, was sobbing on the evening news, mascara streaking her face. But trust me, it gets crazier. My name's Tom Bennett, 61, retired Secret Service VYCE agent. I thought I'd seen it all until I moved to Maple Grove Estates. After my wife passed from cancer, I brought my 8-year-old daughter, Lily, to this Virginia suburb for a fresh start. Big mistake. Maple Grove wasn't a community. It was Susan's personal kingdom. For 8 years, she'd ruled the HOA unopposed, squashing rivals with fines for unapproved mailboxes or excessive garden gnomes. When I built Lily a wooden playset designed by a certified safety inspector, Susan's minions slapped a due law 500 fine on my door. The violation? An unapproved structure over 6 feet tall, except the bylaws allowed 8 feet, and Lily's playset was 7 feet 4 inches. I measured it twice. At the next HOA meeting, I brought the rule book, ready to fight fair. Susan smirked, leaned into her mic, and announced, "The board's amending the bylaw. Maximum height's now 5 feet. Vote passed 4-1. Residents weren't even allowed to vote." That's when I knew Susan wasn't just petty, she was dangerous. Soon, an anonymous tip to Child Protective Service VYCES claimed my yard was a hazard. The caseworker took one look at the playset, rolled her eyes, and left. Then came the letters, citations, threats of liens. I'd faced foreign spies with subtler tactics. But Susan crossed the line one chilly October night. While Lily slept, those 3 enforcers hopped my fence, tools in hand, to dismantle the playset. Lily woke to the noise, ran outside, and one of them grabbed her arm to pull her away from restricted equipment. I stepped onto the porch, tactical flashlight in one hand, Glock 19 holstered, but VY Cybel. "Let go of my daughter. You're committing breaking and entering, unlawful restraint, and theft." 2 froze, 1 bolted. Susan stood outside the fence, arms crossed, directing the whole circus. I called the cops, but the officer shrugged it off. "HOA disputes are CIVYL matters, sir. Ci vu ypsilonelle?" They'd touch my kid and try to steal my property. I bit my tongue. Years in the Secret Service VYC taught me to play the long game. By Monday, Susan had spun her tale. An email blast to every homeowner accused me of building an unsafe structure that injured a child and while VYing a gun at neighbors. The phone call started. "Tom, did Lily hurt someone? Why'd you threaten the HOA?" Susan's lies spread like wildfire. At the next meeting, she doubled down, pushing a new rule. Do law 5,000 fines and forced property sales for firearm-related disputes. Her loyal board stacked with friends, and a cousin passed it without resident input. I was done playing nice. I called my old friend VYD, a former federal prosecutor turned HOA abuse attorney. He didn't just bring ad VYC, he brought a plan. We filed a cease and desist against the HOA for defamation, harassment, and illegal entry. My night, VY sound cameras caught Susan's enforcers red-handed, and CPS records prove her unsafe yard tip was nonsense. Susan retaliated, banning me from the pool, clubhouse, and HOA meetings, calling me a threat to community harmony. But her reign was cracking. Neighbors whispered their own stories. Dulot 200 fines for wrong mailbox colors, foreclosure threats over flower beds. Susan wasn't just after meshed, bullied Maple Grove for years. 14 families joined me in a class action complaint, and a VYD found a gem in the bylaws. Any resident could petition for a board recall with 30 fan tram homeowner signatures. Susan's ban made me ineligible, but my coalition's families gathered 36 fan tram discreetly. The recall vote was on. Susan fought dirty. Recall signs vanished overnight. My mailbox was smashed, my security camera spray painted. A notice threatened foreclosure for safety violations that magically appeared after the petition. She even fined me due law $1,850 for everything from unapproved structure maintenance to failure to maintain mailbox integrity after her goons destroyed it. Under Virginia law, HOAs must hold hearings before enforcing fines or liens. Susan skipped that step, banking on fear. She didn't know fear was my old friend. More neighbors joined us, swelling the coalition to 27 families. Then came a bombshell. Paul, an HOA board member, met me secretly. "Susan forged my signature on your foreclosure notice," he confessed. "I didn't approve it." Forgery. Susan had gone from tyrant to criminal. Paul's affidavit VYT was gold. Susan tried one last trick. Anonymous code enforcement reports claiming my playset, wiring, and gun storage VY OLAT county rules. Inspectors arrived, checked my permits and safety certifications, and left muttering about weaponized complaints. Recall day was electric. The community center overflowed with residents and news vans. Susan tried barring the media, but Virginia law allowed press at public interest votes. At 8:42 p.m., Paul announced, by a vote of 82 to 11, Susan Harper is removed as HOA president. The room erupted. Susan screamed about lawsuits, but the VYD stepped forward with sheriff's deputies. "Ms. Harper, you're served for forgery, fraud, and harassment." Her face went pale. The new board voided Susan's fines, canceled the foreclosure, and erased citations. Our lawsuit settled for a tidy sum enough for a shiny new mailbox and a fresh coat of paint on Lily's playset, now sporting a Susan Free Zone sign. But Susan wasn't done. Weeks later, anonymous complaints hit my consulting gigs, calling me VY Olant. The local paper ran a shady op-ed questioning federal agents in suburbs. Worst of all, Susan targeted Lily, sending emails to her school about BHA VY oral issues. CPS returned, but the same caseworker dismissed it as retaliatory. Then Susan teamed up with Greg, a disgraced ex-HOA board member from another town. They planned a midnight raid to trash my yard and paint community first on my garage. I was ready. With the VYD's help, we'd tipped off the sheriff's department. At 2:04 a.m., Susan, Greg, and two others cut through my fence. Deputies pounced. 4 arrests: trespassing, vandalism, conspiracy. Greg had an outstanding warrant bad luck. News outlets ran photos of Susan in a soaked poncho, mascara running, and Greg dodging cameras. Susan's charges stuck: 100 hours of community care VYC and a restraining order. Greg got 6 months in jail. The HOA funded a new playground with their fines, and Lily swung first at the ribbon cutting, her sign gleaming. But Susan, ever stubborn, filed a due law $1.2 million lawsuit against me, the HOA, and 27 residents for defamation and emotional distress. Representing herself, she claimed I'd used my Secret Sare VYC training to ruin her life. The VYD laugh at it was a textbook frivolous suit. In court, neighbors packed the room, some in Team Bennett shirts. Paul testified about Susan's forgery and fund misuse. The judge took 5 minutes. "Ms. Harper, this is an abuse of the legal system." Case dismissed. Defendants awarded Dula $65,000 in fees. Susan gasped, but it got worse. Virginia banned her from HOA boards for life. Maple Grove ballooned new bylaws, a safety committee I chaired, and a block party where Lily awarded a Susan Free trophy to Cheers. This wasn't just about a swing set. It was about standing up when fear silences others. Susan ruled through intimidation, but fear breaks when one person fights. Know the rules. Bullies like Susan thrive on ignorance. Unite your community. DVY Shaun is their weapon. Justice is slow, but it hits hard. If you're facing your own Susan, document everything, find allies, and never back down. So what's your take? Was I too harsh on Susan, or did she deserve every bit of it? Have you battled an HOA tyrant or a neighborhood bully? Spill your story. Did you win, or are you still fighting? Drop it in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more real-life sagas. Should HOAs have this much power, or should they be scrapped entirely? Let's stir up some debate.